therapist Kristen Jacobson.
Hey everyone, I'm Kristen, the anxiety therapist, and in last week's blog, I talked a little bit about dialectical behavior therapy and went over 3 skills that you can use for emotional regulation and distress tolerance. And those were the tip skill, ABC please, and dear man. So if you missed that, go back and feel free to check out those skills. Today, I want to go a step further and talk about how to reduce emotional overwhelm using some other DBT skills. So when we're faced with overwhelming emotions, it's natural to want to quickly escape the discomfort. So that can be stress from work, tension in relationship, the pressures of daily life, whatever it is, those intense feelings can make us act in ways that we later regret. And so this is where DBT comes into play. Again, this is a therapeutic approach developed by Marsha Linehan in the late 1980s, and it was initially created to help people with borderline personality disorder, those who experience pretty extreme emotions. But it's now been found that the skills are actually useful for anyone, no matter what you're experiencing. So DBT is really packed with practical skills that can be life-changing. And today I want to talk about 3 of those: stop, opposite action, and coping ahead. And these skills are sort of like your emotional first aid kit. So they're there to help you handle whatever life might throw your way without letting your emotions take the wheel. So I'm going to break each one down and explore how you can use these tools to build better distress tolerance and emotional regulation. So the stop skill is like hitting pause in the heat of the moment. So let's say you're in a heated argument with someone. Your heart's racing, your thoughts are scattered, you feel like you're about to explode. In these moments, our natural response is often to react immediately, right? And sometimes that's in ways that actually escalates the situation. So this is where the stop skill can make a huge difference. So in stop, the S stands for stop. So the first step is literally to stop what you're doing. Whatever the situation is, whether you're about to say something you'll regret, fire off an angry email, make a rash decision, whatever it is, you just want to stop. You want to freeze. And by stopping, you're giving yourself a moment to prevent those automatic impulsive actions. The T is for take a step back. So this is about creating some space between you and the situation. Physically, it could mean taking a deep breath, sitting down, stepping outside for a few minutes. Mentally, it's about taking a moment to calm your mind. And this step is crucial because it helps reduce the immediate emotional intensity. So the O then stands for observe. Now that you've paused and you've taken a step back, it's time to observe what's happening. So you want to look at what's going on around you and within you. What are the facts of the situation? What are you feeling? What are the thoughts running through your head? Sometimes those will be what I like to refer to as ants, automatic negative thoughts. And so you're just observing and being as non-judgmental as possible. You're just gathering information about this situation and what's going on for you internally. And then the P stands for proceed mindfully. So after you've observed the situation, you can then decide how to proceed. And this means acting in a way that's deliberate and intentional and aligned with your values and goals. So whether that means continuing the conversation in a calmer manner or taking more time before responding, deciding to walk away. This step is about making a conscious choice and not being as reactive. So the second skill is opposite action. And this refers to challenging unhelpful emotional urges. So we've all experienced times in which our emotions are pushing us in a direction that deep down we know isn't helpful. So maybe you felt like canceling plans because you're anxious, or you wanted to lash out in anger. These emotional urges can be powerful, but they're not always aligned with what's best for us. So the DBT skill of opposite action is about recognizing when our emotions are leading us astray and choosing to do the exact opposite of what you feel like doing. A few examples are thirst. So thirst tells us that we need to hydrate. It activates us to drink water. Hunger tells us that we need to give our body fuel, and so it activates us to eat. Fatigue tells us that we need rest, and it activates us to sleep. So these three experiences are helpful for our survival. But there are some experiences that require thought before we act, and this is where opposite action might be helpful. So for example, anger gets us ready to attack. It activates us to attack or defend. The opposite action would be to show kindness or concern or walk away. Shame gets us ready to hide. It activates us to isolate. Opposite action would be to raise your head up, give eye contact, have your shoulders back, sort of present yourself in a confident way. Fear gets us ready to run or hide. It activates us to escape danger. The opposite action would actually be to move toward, to stay involved, to build courage. Depression gets us ready to be inactive, right? It activates us to avoid contact. So the opposite action would be to get active. Disgust gets us ready to reject or distance ourselves. It activates us to avoid as well. The opposite action would be to push through and get through the situation. And then guilt gets us ready to repair violations. It activates us to seek forgiveness. So the opposite action would be to apologize and mean what we say. So how opposite action works is it identifies the emotion, assesses the action urge, checks the facts, and then acts in an opposite manner. So by acting opposite to your emotional urges, you're essentially teaching your brain that the situation isn't as threatening as it feels. And this is rooted in the principle of behavioral activation from behavioral psychology. And this idea suggests that by changing your behavior, you can actually influence your emotional state. Third is coping ahead. So preparing for emotional challenges before they happen. There are certain situations in life that we know will be challenging before they even occur. This could be a difficult conversation, a stressful work meeting, an event that brings up painful memories. So the DBT skill of coping ahead is about planning and preparing for these situations so that when they do happen, you're ready to handle them in a way that aligns with your goals and values. And this is very different than catastrophizing, right? Catastrophizing is a cognitive distortion in which we sort of expect the worst case scenario. This is different. This is a situation that we know for sure is going to be a distressing experience. And so it's more about the preparation and getting ahead of it so that we can go in equipped. So first you want to visualize the situation. Picture it in as much detail as possible, where it will happen, who will be there, what might be said or done. And this visualization helps your brain to sort of rehearse the situation, making it feel less daunting when it actually occurs. Then you want to identify potential challenges. So as you visualize the situation, think about what specific challenges might arise. Will you feel anxious, angry, sad? What thoughts or urges might come up? And identifying these challenges ahead of time really allows you to prepare for them. Then you want to plan coping strategies. So once you've identified the challenges, think about which coping skills you can use to manage them. So, for instance, if you anticipate feeling anxious, could you use the stop skill to prevent yourself from spiraling? If you think you might feel angry, could you use opposite action to stay calm? And by planning your coping strategies in advance, you're really setting yourself up for success. And then 4 is to actually imagine success. So imagine yourself successfully navigating the situation. Picture yourself using those skills you've planned and handling those challenges effectively. And this positive visualization not only boosts your confidence, but it also increases the likelihood that you'll respond well when the situation actually occurs. This type of mental rehearsal can really reduce anxiety and improve your ability to cope with stress in real time. So by planning ahead, you're less likely to be caught off guard by your emotions and you're better able to stay in control. And when we imagine future scenarios, our brain can't really distinguish much between what's real and what's imagined. So if you imagine yourself being successful in a situation, your brain will naturally gravitate toward making that your reality. So again, we have the stop skill, opposite action, and coping ahead. And these skills are more than just techniques. They can become habits, and with practice, they will start to become second nature. And just as with any new habit, it takes time to develop, but the effort is well worth it. So the next time you find yourself in a challenging emotional situation, remember these skills. They're rooted in science, they're easy to apply, and they can help you take back control of your emotional well-being. And stay tuned for next week's video where I will be sharing 3 more DBT skills. Have a good week.